David Ruffin, the troubled voice of soul. In the pantheon of soul music, few voices resonate with the raw emotion and power of David Ruffin. Born Davis, Eli Ruffin on January 18, 1941, in Wynot, Mississippi, he would rise to become one of the most iconic lead singers of the legendary Motown group, The Temptations. However, Ruffin's story is not just one of musical triumph, but also of personal struggles and adversity that would ultimately shape his legacy. Early life and musical beginnings. Ruffin's journey into music began in his childhood, singing with his brothers in a gospel group. The son of a Baptist minister, he was steeped in the rich traditions of gospel music from an early age. This foundation would later influence his powerful, emotive singing style that became his trademark. In his late teens, Ruffin moved to Detroit, following the path of many African Americans during the Great Migration. It was in the Motor City that he began to pursue a career in secular music, initially performing in talent shows and small clubs. His break came when he was discovered by Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown Records, who saw potential in the young singer's dynamic voice and stage presence. The Temptations era, David Ruffin joined the Temptations in 1964, replacing original member Elbridge Bryant. His addition to the group marked the beginning of their Classic Five period, considered by many to be the group's golden age. Ruffin's tenor voice, with its gritty edge and emotional depth, brought a new dimension to the Temptations' sound. It was during this period that the Temptations released some of their most iconic hits. My Girl, released in 1965, became their first #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 and is arguably their most famous song. Ruffin's lead vocals on this track showcased his ability to convey both tenderness and power, setting a new standard for soul music. Other notable hits featuring Ruffin's lead vocals included Ain't Too Proud to Beg, I Wish It Would Rain, and I Could Never Love Another After Loving You. These songs not only solidified the Temptations' place in music history, but also established Ruffin as one of the premier voices in soul music. Solo career and albums. Despite the success with the Temptations, tensions began to grow within the group. Ruffin's increasing ego and demands for special treatment, fueled in part by his drug use, led to his dismissal from the group in 1968. This marked the beginning of his solo career, which, while never reaching the heights of his time with the Temptations, produced several notable albums and hits. Ruffin's first solo album, My Whole World Ended, was released in 1969. The title track became a top 10 hit, reaching number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. This album showcased Ruffin's ability to carry a full-length record on his own, with his powerful vocals front and center. His second album, Feelin' Good, was released later in 1969. While not as commercially successful as his debut, it contained the hit single, I've Lost Everything I've Ever Loved, which reached the top 20 on the R&B charts. Throughout the 1970s, Ruffin continued to release solo albums, including David, 1973, Me and Rock and Roll Are Here to Stay, 1974, and Who I Am, 1975. These albums saw Ruffin experimenting with different styles, from funk to disco, while always maintaining his signature soulful vocals. One of his most notable later works was the album So Soon We Change, released in 1979. This album marked a return to a more classic soul sound and included the minor hit, Break My Heart. Adversities and personal struggles. Despite his undeniable talent, Ruffin's career was marred by personal struggles that often overshadowed his musical achievements. His battle with drug addiction, particularly cocaine, began during his time with the Temptations and continued throughout his life. This addiction not only affected his professional relationships, but also his ability to maintain a consistent career. Ruffin's temperamental nature. and increasing unreliability led to missed performances and recording sessions. His behavior strained relationships with fellow musicians and record executives, making it difficult for him to sustain the level of success he had achieved with the Temptations. Financial troubles also plagued Ruffin throughout his career. Despite earning significant money during his peak years, poor financial management and his costly drug habit left him struggling financially in later years. He often found himself in legal troubles, including arrests for drug possession and failure to pay taxes. Ruffin's personal life was equally tumultuous. His relationship with fellow Motown artist Tammy Terrell was marked by allegations of domestic abuse, adding to his troubled public image. His marriages were also affected by his addiction and erratic behavior, leading to divorces and estrangement from family members. Attempts at comeback. Despite these challenges, Ruffin made several attempts to revive his career. In 1982, he reunited with fellow ex-Temptations Eddie Kendricks and Dennis Edwards to record the album Reunion. While the album didn't achieve significant commercial success, it demonstrated Ruffin's enduring vocal abilities. One of the most notable late-career highlights for Ruffin came in 1985, when he collaborated with Hall & Oates on a cover of The Way You Do the Things You Do and My Girl at Live Aid. This performance introduced Ruffin to a new generation of music fans and briefly reignited interest in his career. In 1989, Ruffin was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the Temptations, a recognition of his significant contribution to popular music. However, this honor came towards the end of his life and career, as his personal struggles continued to overshadow his musical legacy. Legacy and influence. David Ruffin passed away on June 1, 1991, at the age of 50, from an accidental drug overdose. His death marked the end of a turbulent life and career that had seen incredible highs and devastating lows. Despite the adversities he faced, Ruffin's impact on soul music cannot be overstated. His voice, with its unique blend of grit and vulnerability, influenced countless singers who followed him. Artists like Michael Jackson, Daryl Hall, and Usher have all cited Ruffin as an inspiration. Ruffin's story serves as both a cautionary tale and a testament to the power of musical talent. His struggles with addiction and personal demons offer a stark reminder of the pressures and pitfalls of fame, particularly in an era when support for mental health and addiction issues was less readily available. In retrospect, Ruffin's solo work, while often overlooked, deserves recognition for its quality and the way it showcased his exceptional voice. Albums like My Whole World Ended and So Soon We Change stand as examples of his ability to convey deep emotion through his music, even as he battled personal challenges. The tragedy of David Ruffin's life is that his enormous talent was often overshadowed by his personal struggles. Yet, when listening to his recordings, whether with the Temptations or as a solo artist, one cannot help but be moved by the power and soul in his voice. It's a voice that tells the story of a man who experienced great success and deep pain, all of which he poured into his music. In the end, David Ruffin's legacy is complex. He was a supremely gifted artist who helped define the sound of an era, yet he was also a troubled soul whose potential was never fully realized. His story reminds us of the fragility of talent and the human cost of fame. But most importantly, it leaves us with a body of work that continues to move and inspire listeners decades after it was created, ensuring that the voice of David Ruffin will continue to be heard and appreciated for generations to come.